Very good morning to all the participants of this webinar. What is success? The title is What is Success? The theme we have taken is Are you ready? Are you ready? This is the theme we have taken. Myself, Dr. G. Karupsamy, Dean Research and Innovations, Sri Ishwar College of Engineering. I welcome all the participants on behalf of Sri Ishwar College of Engineering. Dear participants, today we have taken a very interesting topic. What is success? This question comes to us very often. Whatever may be your age, you are when you are in school, when you are in college, when you are employed, when you are at home, whatever may be your age, this question continuously comes to our mind. What is success? Am I successful? Have I done something useful to the society? Am I successful? And especially in higher educational institutions where we have many stakeholders, students, number one stakeholder, teachers, and then society, the management, government institutions, definitely many people are involved. And students, when they join the college, they keep asking this question. Let us say they get the results of first semester, they ask, am I good in studies? Am I successful in my studies? It keeps going for at least 2-3 years, and towards the end of the program, they look for a placement. They get placed, they get a job, but still the mind keeps on saying, did I get the best possible placement? Am I successful in getting placed in a good company? So the question, what is success, keeps coming to our mind very often. So to talk on this topic, it's very interesting. To talk on this topic, we have invited Dr. Madhukar sir. He is from Bangalore. He is in Bangalore now. And Madhukar sir, his profile goes to at least 4 pages. He is one of the highest acclaimed academician I have seen. He has more than 25 years of rich professional experience with respect to higher education, education consultancy, assessment and accreditation, industry exposure, planning and maintenance, marketing and services. It goes like this, 25 years of rich experience. The most important part is 21 years he worked at NAC. 21 years he worked at NAC, and in fact he was the advisor and general counsel, executive committee member of NAC. I'm sure all the teachers who logged into this program, they know what is NAC, National Assessment and Accreditation Council. This is an autonomous body and it is located in Bangalore, and he was one of the highest executive, worked there for about close to 20 years, I can say, and he was responsible for coordinating peer team visits to more than 1,000 institutions, universities and colleges across the country. You can imagine how much knowledge, how much exposure he got towards colleges, arts and science colleges, engineering colleges, universities, name any higher educational institution. I think Sir is thorough with that. So he is such a highly acclaimed academician. In fact, he was so eager to talk about accreditation. But I requested him, sir, let us go with a little motivating title. Last 3 months, all the students and teachers were at home. Maybe they are little worried when the colleges will reopen, when we will go for studies, when will be the examination. Continuous worry is there for them. So let us motivate. You have so much experience with colleges, and in fact, recently he has written an article in University News. It talks about online education versus classroom teaching. Fantastic article. I recommend to all of you, those who are logged in now, read that. We will share that University News article written by Sir Madhukar sir to all of you. I wish you go through that. It's about few pages. He has done such an elaborate study on online teaching. I'm so much impressed by the article. Each and every aspect of online teaching, assessment, examination, practical lab, many things he has explored, and then he has compared with the face-to-face physical classroom teaching. It's a wonderful article. I wish all of you should see that article. So I'm extremely happy we have a highly acclaimed academician who has seen almost from Kanyakumari to Kashmir and Gujarat to West Bengal, all colleges. We are extremely happy, and I welcome on behalf of all of you, Dr. Madhukur sir, to take over and then talk about what is success. Maybe just a line. Why this title at all? In fact, about 6 months before, I met Madhukur sir at Indore, Madhya Pradesh, and they introduced Madhukur to us. And then I was expecting definitely a much accreditation-oriented talk, but he has explained the other side of it. He has explained what students are thinking. What students are thinking today. His perspective is completely from students. So with this introduction, now I welcome Mr. Madhukur sir to take over. Sir, the stage is yours, sir. You can continue, sir. Thank you, sir. Thanks for joining us, and I'm sure today is going to be a memorable day for all of us. Thank you, sir. Please take over.
So, good morning to all of you. Namaskar, pranam, vanakkam. I'm very happy to be with you today. In fact, I should thank Professor Karpuswamy for giving me an opportunity. I'm generally used to talking on assessment, accreditation, quality, etc. Now, Professor Karpuswamy has given me a topic on what is success. I am not even sure what is whether I am successful. Now I have to talk on success. When I ask my wife or daughter whether I am successful, they will laugh. So in fact, I remember one quote from one of the president's wife. I think it's from Canada. She said, "What is success? Whether you consider your husband a successful man." So she has referred to and said, "See, I'm very surprised that you call him a successful man." So behind you hear that, no? Behind every woman, every man there is a woman, or behind every woman there's a man. But she quoted it like this: behind every successful man is a surprised woman. So this thinking of what you call as success is more of a perception. It is more of you perceive it, you think differently. It is a perception. And who perceives your success? You yourself perceive it, or somebody else perceive it? Do your perception and somebody else's perception match? So there are a lot. It is a very complex issue to discuss. And I feel there is no definitive answer to this. Whether you are 25, whether you are 50, whether you are whatever, defining success becomes very difficult. Because in my opinion, success is a kind of a flowing issue. It is like a river, it keeps flowing. At one point, what is success? At other point, it is not. It may not be. When you look back, what you thought was successful, now things you feel is very small. Many of you have done engineering, now they are engineering graduates. You think of your 7th standard. You passed 7th standard, though. Now, do you think it was a very successful one? But think before you took the 7th standard examination. It was a great thing. You want to do, it's a public exam. You have to study well. You thought about 100. You referred other question papers, earlier question papers. You talked to friends. You discussed with your teachers. Some of you even went for tuition. Then you passed your 7th standard. Now, after passing, nearing your BE, You don't remember, you don't think much about it. It is one milestone you crossed. So this issue of success is like a flowing river. Once that part flows, you get into another part of the river will flow. So it has a kind of a sequence. It may be random, it may be day-to-day basis, success for this today, success for tomorrow. It could have a day-to-day issue. So this is how complex the topic is. And you don't have to worry of the complexity of the topic, but how much it helps you, how much you value success with different perceptions is what finally matters. I will try to I am really not qualified to talk on this subject as an educationist. I don't have direct background in either psychology or psychiatry, anything. And nor I have a great spiritual idea. Generally, this success can be defined in a spiritual term also. There are a lot of Sadgurus, gurus in the country who will talk about success in a spiritual way. But I will not get into the spiritual angle of success here, because then you will feel this old man has been called and he talks things which are all useless. So I'm not saying it is useless in that sense. For you at this point in time, you look at success differently. That's important, because all of us think of success only in a spiritual way. The other things needs to be done. So the diversity of the understanding of success is very important. For somebody who is just completing his graduation, if I talk success on think of why you are born, what is the purpose of life, it looks slightly odd. What is he trying to say? That is what you will feel after this session is over. Now let me share some examples with you, which I have gained through experience. I've traveled across the country. I was fortunate to meet so many students, so many teachers, faculty members, then employers, etc., etc. So I was fortunate in that way that I could meet so many people. Now you think of this college itself, Sri Ishwar College in Coimbatore. They are an engineering institution. And now in this webinar, they have selected a different topic. They said, are you ready? Are you ready? Ready for what? This question comes to your mind. Are you ready? Ready for what? And he is giving a diversity of audience, diversity of participants, diversity of resource persons. I have seen yesterday, if you had been on this webinar yesterday, a lady spoke about how to start your own business. She spoke about entrepreneurship. Interesting things, interesting observations she made yesterday. In fact, I happened to listen to that yesterday. Now, let me talk about few examples I wish to share with you before we get into the topic itself, because I don't know whether finally we will be able to understand or define success, which is common to all of us. I have a very big doubt on that. Now, you could have listened to this story of Dashrath Manji, the person from Bihar, who we refer as the mountain man. In fact, a movie was made in his name. You know, if you read his history, with a chisel and a hammer, he dug a road on the mountains, or hillock, you can say hillock. You know what? It took 22 years to do it. 22 years, single-minded, that he will cut this distance short from his village to Gaya. And how much did he achieve? He reduced the distance from 55 kilometers to 22 kilometers. Sorry, 50 odd kilometers to 15 kilometers. Now, what do you think of this? What is success? How do you define success in his path? 22 years you took. So, was he successful in doing it? Yes, he was. But do you think he was an unreasonable man? Possibly, yes. He was unreasonable. Not many will take that. So, these are all, see, it is about him. It is about his perception of life, his perception of success. I will make a road. Maybe he couldn't have thought that somebody will pay him or a movie will be made in his name. So think about this. Now, I will take another example. The Great Wall of China. Many of you heard about Great Wall of China. It was a tourist attraction. Now what is it? Now it's a tourist attraction. People go to China when they visit. They walk in the Great Wall of China. They pay for it. But why was this Great Wall of China built? The Chinese at that time built the Great Wall of China so that no invaders invade China. Did they succeed? After that, after the Great Wall of China was built, to the best of my memory, three times China was invaded. 3 times. You will ask how, maybe you know. Nobody climbed the Wall of China and got inside. They bribed the guards. So they bribed the guards and got inside. So there are 3 dimensions open out in this. Yes, they were successful in building the Wall of China. But were they successful in stopping invaders? No, they were not. Because they forgot one aspect of human integrity. So here success is a mosaic puzzle. You are not able to understand. You clearly say, okay, Wall of China is successful. But whether the purpose? No, it was not. So you get into a dilemma. How do you answer this question? It's a dilemma. Now, I share another example. This has some historical context. Now, this is something you see all over life. You know how an MBA from a foreign country with an MBA degree came in and joined a home appliances organization. So he was asked to make a small ad to sell the product, a home appliance, to the household. So that was the target or the assignment given to him. So he created an ad, and this ad was shown. What they do as a dummy or to take feedback, etc. It was shown. Then somebody who was more experienced, possibly not an MBA, he said, sir, this advertisement will not work. Why? He asked why. What do you mean? I put all my knowledge which I have gathered in MBA. But why doesn't it work? Then he says, this advertisement doesn't target the influencer or the enabler of a decision making, enabler who enables a decision, the influencer of a decision. This advertisement doesn't target the housewife. Maybe this is largely true in a context of middle class and higher middle class and upper middle class. This doesn't target the housewife In the sense, this doesn't target the decision influencer. Maybe the decision finally the man of the house may write the check, but the enabler and the influencer to this decision is not part of this advertisement. So it may not work. Then there was a lot of discussions on this. Then the boss said, see, you know why that decision will be made? Because a kitchen, and in fact a book also has been written on this, learn management from your wife. So a book has been written on if you have to learn management, you have to study how do you run a kitchen. You think of this scenario, you think about mother, your wife, your sister, whoever it is. How do I run a kitchen? What are the techniques? What are the management things you can learn from running a kitchen? So think about it. You learn management here right at your house. If you want to learn management, I tell you run the kitchen of a 5-6 member house or 10 member house for 6 months. You will learn many of the management techniques. What is it? What do you learn in a kitchen? Let me just give you some examples. You will learn inventory management. Don't you? You have to make inventory, what to purchase, what not to purchase, etc. And also economic order quantity. Or when should we buy? What is the economics of buying? You all do, you know that. Space management, lot of space, how to handle space, kitchen space, if it is small, if it is big, how do you put it, what items you put where. That is another aspect. Then there's the financial aspect to it. You have this much money, how do you manage a month? What are the ingredients you buy today? What ingredients you buy later? Safety. There is issues of safety. You have to look at it. So then there are a lot of diversity. What you prepare today, planning, short-term planning, long-term planning. What will be tomorrow's breakfast? What you'll do day after tomorrow? It's a lot of planning. Crisis management. Some guests come into your house. Suddenly, how do you manage? These are all, see, then self-management, then value addition. And apart from kitchen management, you have to manage your household, your husband, your kids, your daughters, your son. And each one is not it is a heterogeneous group. In teaching, we say it is very difficult to handle heterogeneous group. That is why teaching is difficult. A house itself is a heterogeneous model. How do you handle? Then there is crisis management. All this is managed by one person. And if she puts, okay, this is the payment you have to do for this, most of us will not be able to pay that. You have to just go and stand as God in Tirupati or somewhere else to collect that money. It will be, if you value in terms of money, the money is enormous. You understand? So what I'm trying to say here, in time management, you have to do. Yeah, your husband has to go 6:30, daughter has to go 8:30, 7:30, management with different aspects. And if she's working, she also has to go. So I feel you learn management here. You run your kitchen for 6 months, you will learn a lot of management. So the purpose here is, what is that now? See, now you talk about the latest technology, Internet of Things. What is Internet of Things? So much of data is collected, so much of data is there. Now you have to collect this data into what you call as a cloud. And there you analyze that. It is integrating data into your internet. Then you call it what is called as big data management. That's already happening in your house, big data management. Your wife does it every day. She has data of so many years. She does big data management. She doesn't need a cloud. She has it in her head. So he said, so in fact, he says, see, you are already talking to a professional. Maybe officially no MBA, but already a professional. So you have to address the influencer of that decision. Whatever the decision, 9 out of 10 chances, she is going to make the decision. So your advertisement has to be addressed to the impactor of the decision or the influencer of that decision. And don't think she knows management. In fact, I could add, you can give them MBA degrees directly with about maybe what is called as lateral in 3-6 months course on theory of all this. In fact, everything is there except that they don't use the names you have given. Inventory, portfolio, all that which you study in management, finance management, is already there in your kitchen. So that's why he says, what did he say? What did that manager say? What was that? What is the key takeaway from this? What is the key takeaway from this this discussion I had with you? It is insight. What is insight? Insight is, he said, see, the influencer is who makes the decision. So you have to target your advertisement to enable her to make a decision. That is insight there. So what is that? That insight is important. Product is there, utility may be there, everything is there. But insight, if the insight is missing, you will not succeed. The insight is what is very important. This is so many things you talk about, but insight, or we can call it enabler, that makes a big difference. Now you take another recent example which happened, very sad example, but I like to take that example. You know, now recently a Bollywood actor unfortunately committed suicide. It made all of us sad. What was it? When you look back, the day before he committed suicide, he was a great success to all of us. From our perception, he was a great success. He came from a small village. He came from Patna. He qualified some of the best entrance exams in this country. He was handsome. He got a break in Bollywood. Was successful as an actor. Maybe he made reasonable money. But then, one day, he let go. He couldn't handle it anymore. Now, what do you call it? Till the day before, from our perception, is a very successful person. We could envy him. Yeah, I couldn't do it. You could envy. But that very day, that next day, your whole perception changed. You don't know whether you call him success or you call him failure or you came that 1 minute, that one thought at 1 minute, if you had just crossed over that moment, you could have not done it. You don't know. It's very difficult to make an analysis of this. Why I'm sharing all this to you? Because what I like to tell you on all this is, because it is very difficult to define success in itself. You can only take it from your outside world, your environment, your day-to-day life. You keep understanding things. There are many engineers. There are many engineers who don't do engineering. There are a lot of IAS officers who are engineers now. So it is very, then if you say after doing engineering, why he did not work in a, what is that, in a shop floor, which he is supposed to do? Then he is doing something else. How do you rate it? You call it successful or unsuccessful? He is not doing engineering. Is he successful as far as his course is concerned? This is another dilemma, which this is another issue that comes up. So I have just shared 3 examples on one or 2 examples on how it is. What 3 different perceptions I gave you on success. Now, if you can put on please, I request you to put on the slide so that I will use the slide for you. Okay, thank you. Now I think this slide has been put in a little late, but it's okay. Now, hope all of you are able to see the slide. All participants from different parts of the country, hope you are able to see the slide and you are able to hear me properly. Okay, you're able to hear. The understanding is later. Hope I assume that you are able to see the slides and hear me. I was very hesitant to do the slide because even in case a video fails and video needs more bandwidth, if audio is there, you can manage. So I will try to put it in such a way, even if your video is off, I will try to compensate with the audio. Let me hope I will succeed.
PPT is clear, sir. Please go ahead. PPT is okay.
Yeah, it's clear to many of you in places where there is no bandwidth or something. I'm not sure. Anyway, we will continue. Now, I have just put what is success? I have just put some points under what is success. Achieving goals, milestones. You passed first when you started, your milestone was more important to your mother than you. Your milestone was the mother, okay, 1 year, the child should walk. The milestone was with your mother. Later on, you started understanding yourself a little more. Then you started defining your own goals. Then you said, okay, I want to be a pilot. Initially, you start up with saying, I want to be a train driver or a car driver, etc. But later, as you move, depending on your background and all that, you change your goals. So this is milestones. You keep different milestones. Each one in his life could keep different milestones. For somebody who is born in some other place, going and studying in Bangalore or Chennai or Delhi itself could be a big thing. It's a milestone, it's a success. But somebody who's in Bangalore or Chennai, he feels I have to go to US to study, that is success. And some define successes with money. I want to make a lot of money. That is success. For somebody, it could be power. I want to be powerful. Power is success. Then somebody could think fame. I should be famous. Fame is success. I should become very famous. I should become an actor, right? I should become an actress. I should be I should be this. Then privileges. You are privileged. Okay, you can hire an aircraft and go. Something is part of money itself. Privileges. If 10 people come with you, you are privileged. So you feel privilege is success. Then some people have a dilemma of all this. What is this here? There's a question that comes to your mind. Why I was born? You may ask your parents, why, what is the need for me in this world? Why I'm born? At some points in time, you are in a dilemma. You don't know what is why I'm born. I am so feeling bad. The day is very bad. Everything I do, everything, nothing works. You are in a dilemma. Is dilemma part of success? Everybody goes through that. You have to come out of dilemma. Then possibly there is clarity. Then is a puzzle. You can see success as a puzzle. Here it doesn't fit. I was born here. Oh, I was born in this place, Bangalore. Hope if I was born in Mumbai or in Tata's house or in Birla's house, how good it could have been. So it's a puzzle. I don't know. I don't know. It's a puzzle. I don't ask me what is success. I'm all confused. For me now, success is to pass tomorrow's exam. I have not prepared well, or I have prepared too well. And then somebody will say fate here. Everything Bhagwan ne dega, whatever it is. Bhagwan ne paida kiya, Bhagwan ne dega. Fate. You just leave it to fate. Everything happens on its own time, on its own time. Don't worry about it. You be bindas. That is what in Hindi is. Bindas. That is fate. Fate will take care of everything. Since you are born, something will go on in your life. So somebody doesn't worry about success or not. Whatever happens will happen. You cannot slightly on this picture. Whatever happens will happen. Somebody could define success as happiness. In fact, if you know, government of Bhutan, for them the national priority itself is happiness. In fact, even in I think government of Madhya Pradesh has a ministry, if I think ministry or department, whose purpose is to create happiness in the society. Happiness. So that is success. If you are happy in life, what more you want? What more you want? Because I will share one anecdote I thought about it. See, one person was in a beach. He was relaxing. A boy was relaxing in a beach. Was relaxing, very comfortably relaxing. So one of the elders there, his uncle or aunt went there, and they saw that boy relaxing in the beach, 20, 25 years relaxing, doing nothing. So he said, you know, why you are wasting time? See, your father worked very hard. He started a business. He worked so hard, and now he's relaxed. He is what he's doing. He's relaxed. He said, "The boy, that is what I'm doing now itself. I'm relaxing. Why do you want me to go through all that finally to do the same thing?" So this is how he reacted to working hard, etc. He said, "I'm relaxing. Why should you have done so much to just relax? You could have done it right away." That is that is another aspect of success. And there could be somebody who ask him, he will be in such a pain or something every day, go in Bombay local and come back in Mumbai local. You will not be interested in defining anything. You will say, "Sab kismat hai." Forget it. I don't want to define anything. It is all kismat hai. Whatever happens will happen. Generally, this phase you will come when you reach your 30s, 40s. Is all kismat hai. Before that, you will be very happy. You want to achieve. It's good. You have to keep that in mind. Now let me go to the next slide. See, why I have taken this slide itself, I will tell you. See, when at each phase in life, you will always learn from this environment. You learn from your surroundings. You always learn from your surroundings. But even everything you learn from your surroundings. To walk, to talk, etc. You learn from your surroundings. Now I've taken, what is this? Why I've said Proverbs? Proverbs are some statements that is a collective experience of people who have lived before you or during your time or later. These are all what is called as immortal statements. Your child, your mother, father learnt about it, you learnt about it, your child learns about it. So this is what is called as a collective knowledge put in what is called as proverbs. I took only the English ones, generally the English ones, because of a lot of diversity of the diversity. So I have taken this some of them in English. But we have a very common one, which has a lot of meaning to it. Like Idda Kale Shastrabhyas. What does it say? Oh, when there's a war, you try to learn, use your weapons. Here, what he says is generally what it is said: consistency is required. That you, for something you have to excel, you have to be consistent. You know, in many places in an interview, job interviews, they will say, even in the ads, you say, you have to be first class throughout your career. They will say that. Why do they say that? They are looking for consistency here. They are looking for consistency. You are consistent. That means the other thing they draw from it is you will be a good worker. You are an employer. You are a good employee. You will be a good employee because you are consistent. They are not looking for their boss. If you want to look for a boss is a creator. It's a different ball game altogether. It's a creator. Now let me go into some of this. I'll just read few of the proverbs. There are many more. In all languages, it is there. Tamil, Kannada, Hindi. There are many. You can relate to it yourself. Now, an early bird catches the worm. What is this? Early bird catches the worm. Now, discretion is better part of valor. If you want to apply both this to the same, there's a situation. Here, early bird, you have to be early to catch the worm. But anyway, the worm is dying. It's bad luck for the worm. And discretion is part of valor. Discretion is better part of valor. Now, what the first one says, you do early. There is a war, you fight early. But in the second one, it says discretion is better part of valor. Should you fight? There's the discretion aspect is brought into it. See, there's a dichotomy between the first and second. Which do you apply? You apply the first one or the second one? Then the issue comes about context. You have to use a context to this. Then there's another one which says, ignorance is bliss. Do you think it is? It is okay if you are sick, you are going to be operated and you have no choice. What are the side effects of that operation? You may not know. Maybe it is bliss. You may successfully come out of that operation. But if you knew beforehand, oh, these are all the risks involved, then you will be worrying a lot. And mind controls matter. That is what they say. That is the latest thinking. Everything depends on you. That case, you will feel ignorance is bliss. In that case, ignorance is bliss. But if you say that in the court of law, here, ignorance, as the law says, in your country, ignorance here is not bliss. If you say I'm ignorant of the law of this country, so I jumped the traffic, I thought driving left is the rule of the road, but I never knew about it, so I drove in the right. You are expected, now ignorance here is not bliss. You will be fined. So this is another. Then another one which I took up. By the time you think your father was right, your son thinks you are wrong. Many of you in your 40s, you may more easily go with this, more easily relate to this. See, many times you could have heard your son or daughter tell your mother, how come that you married this fellow? How come you married this fellow? Anything I say, he opposes. How do you manage to live with this fellow? You think about this. This is what. That means the perception is different at different points in time. For the younger person, to the elder person, the perception of whatever success, whatever you think, by the time you are there, you think differently. So by the time you think your father was right, your son or daughter thinks you are wrong. What? Then there's another one which says one door closes, another opens. But for another door to open on its own, it doesn't open on its own. You have to be watchful. But what does this say? It gives you a kind of it gives you is an experience which has, this is drawn from experience. This proverb is drawn from experience. One door closes, another opens. People have gone through your phase earlier also. They may have written, so they say, if one door closes, the other will open. This has a larger meaning. This gives you kind of a hope. So this is another. So you take wisdom. You can take wisdom from all your surroundings. I tell you, we had, when I was young, we are a group of about 30 friends. 30 of us were there. Now, if I reflect back, many became engineers, some were non-engineers, some did graduation, some went into business. Now, when I look back and see all of them, most of them are equally successful. In the general, equally successful. Many of them are equally successful. Many of them are equally successful. So, how do you look at it? Then in that case, see, time has its own dimension. Time matters. Time, you learn. Time has its own dimensions. Over time, things may change. So that is some of these things, some of the takeaways from this. Now let me take, this I have collected from some achievers, who are achievers, who have achieved in their lives. And I have put together some of them. You can also look at it. My advice is you read a lot. You have to read. In fact, yesterday also she said, before she opened the preschool one, she learned a lot about that. I will come to that example a little later. However good or bad a situation is, it will change. This you could have seen in your life. This is said by an achiever. I have taken all this which has been said by some achievers. Business achievers, they could be politicians, they could be teachers, they could be businessmen. They could have occupied different big social workers, etc. Everything is. I've taken then philosophers. Everything. I have selected random few. However good or bad a situation is, it will change. Don't worry, things will become better. Alternatively, things may go bad. You have to be mentally prepared for that. What do you fear the most? Do what you fear the most, and fear could go away. See, in many places, I have suggested whenever I go, they say we have difficulty in speaking in English. We understand. Many colleges, particularly in rural India, even in urban India, they say we love to speak in English, we love to understand English, but we have a difficulty. What is the difficulty? You have a fear that you may go wrong. You feel there is an embarrassment if I talk something wrong. You don't have to worry about that. I always used to tell them, right or wrong, you start speaking. Do you think today I'm speaking and everything is right? And I pronounce everything right? It's possible. In fact, my daughters say many of your pronunciations are all wrong. But still I continue. Because for me, this is not my mother tongue. This is required for my success. Required. Whatever anybody says is required. But when a politician uses it, he says, no, we have to learn our mother. For him, it is something else. Not that he doesn't know you need to learn English. But it has a different context. But it has a different context. He's pulling an emotional string. Tamil, Kannada, Hindi. He's putting an emotional string. You have to learn. There's nothing wrong in that. See, there are a lot of gray areas in life. You will be surprised how come a person, the head of the political party, is in jail, but still his party wins seats. How does it happen? Why? It's a very difficult question. Because there's emotions between these. Putting emotions to understand emotions is very difficult. So, how do you understand emotion? And we all live, it is not a very rational world. Like in engineering, all rational, logical. No, it is not. Earlier, the world, logic. Logically, the world has to be flat. Just plain logic, the world has to be flat. Otherwise, when you go to the end of the world, you will drop out. That's how people thought. Now you you go to a child and don't, before he knows the world, if you teach him world is round and all that, you ask him how the world is, he will say at the end of the world, somebody has to fall. Then they found out the world is flat. So sometimes even logic, what we think of logic, can be deceptive. Then if you want the rainbow, you have got to put up with a little rain. What he says, you have to, if you want to see something, you have to give something. You have to work for it. It doesn't come free. You may have a washing machine in your house, but you have to fill it with water. Fill it up. Fill it with fill it with stuff to get clean. Vessels. Yes, fill the dirty vessels for it to get clean. You may have a washing machine which reduces the load, but still you have to load the washing machine with cloths. So if you want to see the rainbow, you have to. I've given simple examples so that everybody can relate. Put up with a well done. Well done is better than well said. You may preach a lot. You have to do that. You have to do this. But if you do well, it is better than well said. And these are all common. Winners never quit and quitters never win. In fact, Shiv Nadir's book starts with this. It also says successful people don't do different things, but they do things differently. They do things differently. Then you could find many examples of this. Now you take the COVID situation. What happened? So many migrant workers, unfortunately, had lost everything, lost their livelihoods. And for him, what was success? Reaching home. Nothing is there, no money, nothing. But thousands reached home. Was it success? What do you call this? Calamity, success? Such huge problems. Then you see, ask less often what is in it for me, ask what is in me for it. This is a question which is very much related to the Indian way of thinking. Indian way of thinking it is. You do your karma. Don't, results are not in your hands. See, somebody prayed, I want God, I want lot of money. But God wanted to give you that money. But at least you have to buy that lottery ticket at least. No? You have to buy it. Effort, your effort is, some effort is required. Even if God wants to give you, you have to buy the lottery ticket. Then a bad attitude cancels all other positive skills. Very important. Attitude is very important. Your opinions, your emotions, empathy, compassion, anger. Attitude cancels all other positive skills. You may have enormous skills, but if your attitude is wrong, difficult. You may be able to buy skills in the market, but attitude buying is very difficult. You cannot buy attitude. You have to cultivate. Attitude cannot be bought. Skills can be bought. I can hire an engineer, but I cannot buy somebody, change his attitude. It has to be evolved. Then excellence is not an act but a habit. Anything you do, you decide you will do it well. That's what even in accreditation assessment I say. There are a lot of problems. You are a temporary employee. You say you are a temporary, you are a contract employee. It not only in education, any place. When you are there, as long as you are there, you do it to the best of it. Yes, you know, you will not be in this job for after next 3 months. You know, but still you do the best. Don't take the attitude, kya karna hai, abhi to chodna hai. Enna pandrathu ipo, moon maasathu mudinjudu. Don't take that line. Do it as if they say, this is the last day in your life. Every day, do it as it is the last day in your life. That's what people say. You learn from this. Then life isn't fair, but it will be good. This scene, life isn't fair. So many of us say, oh, and so unfair it is. See, life starts with where you are born itself. They call it a seminal dice. Seminal dice. Where you are born, you don't know. You are born, why you feel, oh, life is so unfair. I am born in such a village. Or I am born in, why I shouldn't have been born in Washington, D.C. The first assumption that life is fair itself is wrong. Life is not fair in a comparative sense. In a comparative sense, it's not fair. You feel, why I'm not beautiful like Aishwarya Rai? Something like that. Why I'm not a great chess player like Vishwanathan Anand? Why I couldn't play cricket like Tendulkar? So it isn't, can you say it isn't fair? No, you cannot, because these are all gray areas in life where you don't understand. You don't have understanding of all these gray areas. Don't know. In fact, I remember one anecdote which I will share with you. See, a girl in a marriageable age, in their house they said you pray to God every day that you get a good husband. This is generally you hear this. So that girl started praying to God very seriously. She took it very seriously and started praying to God. And God appeared. So she asked God, then God asked, what do you want? She said, I want a husband who is very tall, handsome, with a lot of lot of wisdom, successful, everything. I want a husband like that. So God said, we don't create anything like that. I can give you 5 husbands if you like, but you cannot get it in a single package. So what it means is, the understanding is, you will not see, that's why they call it team. Everything is not available with everybody. You have something, you need somebody to complement it. That's what in management terms they call as team building. Team, you work in teams. So that is what it is. But some leader has to be there. So team, that is what it is. Now let me go to the next slide. This is an interesting slide. I think how much time I have? How much time I have, sir?
You can take 5 more minutes, sir. No problems.
Maybe I will take 10 minutes. Maybe
it is one hour.
10 minutes.
No, go ahead. And 10 minutes, no problem, sir. Go ahead.
10 because
you can go ahead. 10 minutes.
Because it was not face to face, I had to be a little more slower. That's the reason. See now in this. See now in this you see a ox going round, and it is grinding peanut oil. Peanut oil. This ox is grinding peanuts, which is put in that bowl. It is going around. This is a common scene in a village. Now a group of students, maybe city students, went to a village. This is shared by me by somebody else. I don't know whether it is true or not, but that is not the issue. So they went, and the farmer was sitting far off from this place. Farmer was sitting very far off. The cow, the bullock, the ox was not visible to him. The group of students were interacting with him. Then one student asked, see, the bullock is going round and round. What if it stops? Without going round, since you are sitting very far off, what if it stops? Then he said, no, see, I have tied a bell on its neck. The sound of the bell tells me that it is more going round. City man, so he thought, he asked another counter question. What if the cow stands in a place and just shakes his neck so that you will hear the bell sound? Then the farmer said, see, this ox has not gone to the college. It will not do it. See, sometimes intelligence will be a problem. Problem it is, you are thinking too much, which in practical life may not happen. This is a problem with, I was always worried, in all educational institutions, most of them are PhDs. The highest education you can get. But why still we feel quality is poor? I cannot understand this. It's a paradox. It's a paradox. So I leave it with you. I don't want to give on. So everything you have learned need not be useful also. Need not be useful. Now another thing. This is what has been put even in the flyer that has been put on the website. The moment you see this, what do you notice? You forget about the person. Possibly, if you are a keen watcher, you could have noticed that this book has been kept upside down. Yes or no? If you have not seen it, you see it is put upside down. The moment I sent this flyer, my daughter replied, "Daddy, the book is upside down." Now the question that comes out of it, whether the book is upside down is the fact, is for real. But whether I kept it upside down without my knowledge or with my knowledge, is there a particular why I have kept it? Is there some message in that? See, this is what is called as an open mind. The first decision you will make is he has kept it upside down. Foolish fellow. Second part is whether he has kept it upside down with a purpose. So, open mind means that. And you know the title of the book? It is called The Unreasonable Fellows. Unreasonable. Like the first case I showed is about Dashrath Manshi. You think about it? Don't you feel he is an unreasonable fellow? If somebody could have told you 20 years back, I will dig a road out of this mountain, what could you told him? What you could have told him? He should be admitted to some mental hospital. Paithyam serial hai, pagal hai, pata nahi kya kar raha hai, pagal hai. Paithyam serial hai, hospital se rakho. So this is what you could have thought. They said in one of the history books I read, one commentary on American democracy, he says, give me 25% unreasonable people, I will run this country and I will change the country. Somebody has been quoted. These unreasonable people are driven with passion. Just passion. They don't care. Like Picasso, he wrote, he was a creative person. Unreasonable, he died of poverty. So these are all the rare thing. Wright brothers who developed aircraft worked for when they were cycle shop. Their actual business was cycle shop, but they had a passion that we should fly. And one, he was a risk taker. What? Yes, risk. He could die, he could fall. Risk taker. Somebody was a risk taker. He created an aircraft. But somebody who thought, yeah, if that aircraft break down, you may call him a pessimist, but he made a parachute. Both are required in this world. If everybody are entrepreneurs, there should be some buyers also, non-entrepreneurs also. If everybody gets distinction, is it required? So these are all various factors that you have to come across in your career, initial career, later career, etc. You become an engineer, you became trainee engineer, then you want to become manager, then you have to become vice president, president of the company. As you go up, the ladder is very small. Or at one point in time, you say, I don't want any of these things, I will come out of it. So now we are in 2020s. When you want to, now let me get to the next slide. Remember, these are some things I just want to remember. These are across board. It is likely to hold values, likely to be important, whether you are in one age group or the other age group, it is likely to be important. See, one is integrity. Integrity is very important because they say, if you speak the truth, you don't have to remember. Now you speak, you tell lies, you tell something to your wife, you tell something to your sister, you tell something to your boss, you tell something to your neighbor, your co-worker. You lie, you have not come one day to office and you told your colleague, I'm going to a movie. Then you told your boss you are sick. You told your neighbor somebody has passed away, I'm going there, because your neighbor knows your boss. Then what happens? You end up in a confusion. I have made a very simple example. I don't want to make it very complicated example. Then you have to remember what you told whom, at least for some time. You can give a lesson to say, I did not feel like going today, something like that. A general kind of a truth. So that is important. Integrity. Now you decide, no, I become a big rowdy. But you know the costs of it. You're always in the fear of law. You have to cultivate people who will help you, support you. You end up in tense situations. You have to find a police officer who will favorable to you. That man gets transferred. To be that itself is difficult. Now, if you earn money, lot of money by corrupt practices, what happens? You lose your peace. You made lot of money, but you have to hide that money somewhere. You have to hide it from your neighbor. You have to hide it from your income tax department. You have to hide it from a thief. And you have to move it some other place. So the money you have earned, but you have no time to enjoy that money because your mind is fixed in managing that money. Oh, money shouldn't go anywhere. Money, lot of money, it shouldn't go anywhere. You have recent examples of how the defrauded banks, etc., that you can look at yourself. And remember, money, power are good slaves but bad masters. They should not be driving you. They should not be driving you. They say money, you need enough. I'm not saying you don't need. A little more is good, but too much is poison. Too much is poison. Anything you need for requirement, little more, even pleasure. Pleasure, a little more, little pleasure. Some pleasure is everybody required. Good. A little more may be okay. But if you want too much of pleasure, you may land up with AIDS. That's also a possibility. So learn, unlearn, and relearn. It's a continuous process for everybody. See now, technology, unlearn, relearn, continuous. It's a continuous process. And you hope you will do well. Hope, you hope, you have a hope. I should be that, I should be this, I should be that. Hope is not a plan. You have to have a plan. Whether it's a good plan, bad plan, it's okay. You have to have a plan. Because during the course of the plan, you make course corrections. You will not have perfect plan. But if you have a plan, you make course corrections. In rainy season, simple example, in rainy season, you have to write exams. You don't know on that day it rains or it doesn't rain. But it is always better to carry an umbrella. It's a precaution. So small things are there. Small issues. Now, yesterday, in fact, Madam made a very good presentation. I was looking at that presentation, and for me, I don't know what it is for her. For me, in that presentation, what was that moment that helped her in achieving what she did? She had everything. She had a background, she had education, everything. In my view, my insight was, she said it in a passing. She said, I don't know whether it's true if you ask her, but in my opinion, as an outsider, the turning point, the enabling point was when she said I got married, and with my husband I went to US or whatever, and then we came back, and I studied for 6 months or whatever, and then I started my. But the enabler to her, in my opinion, was, see, she was not into day-to-day earning. What tomorrow, today, if I don't earn, tomorrow will I be able to run the family? That was taken care of by husband. She was, and he was person who was a team. He cooperated. That's what she also said. What I'm trying to say here is, it is an insight. What is success? Success is some insight to things. You do all this which I have put: integrity, money, power, learn, hope, and all the other. Let me go back. All other things here. What are all these achievers have said? It is all insight. Insight into something. Due to some experience in their life, they have said this. Life isn't fair, but it is still good. Somebody has said it. How they have said it? Because there is an insight. It has come from inside. My thing is, you have to develop that sharp sense. It comes by experience. It doesn't come just like that. It comes from experience. Insight is what helps you in success. Understand things. Understand. Then one more important issue. Understand and evaluate yourself. It is very important. You must understand yourself. Unless you know yourself, your strengths, your opinions, etc., your attitude, your opinions of yourself and others, unless you understand and evaluate yourself, you will not be able to do. You will end up in a wrong job. You want to be a good salesman, you have to have physical energy also, not only product knowledge. So understanding yourself and evaluating yourself is very important. Then success. Now finally I conclude by saying success means different things to different people at different points in time. What is success? Success to me is insight throughout your life. What is the insights you take from your experience is in my opinion, contributes to success. Success you can define the way you want. That insight, you understand. You want to be you cannot be a wrestler with a body which is 40 kgs or 20 kgs. You have to have very good health. So I think with this, Sarah has already come on the screen. So with this, I think I will close our slide. And this you read yourself. It's a great paradox that simplicity comes from passing through many complex stages of learning. This is the greatest paradox of life. Simplicity. Be simple is the lesson. Don't complicate life. Make it simple. Hundreds of management jargons, don't worry. Make life simple. Work hard. Happiness is the goal. Success comes from inside. Success doesn't come from anything else. Inside. That is what I mean. So last slide, sir, with your permission. The last
yes,
slide.
sir. Yes, sir. Go ahead.
In this
Go ahead, sir.
slide, where a woman with all serenity is, I don't know what she's doing, praying or anything. If you don't like this presentation a little bit also, it's okay with me. Maybe you feel this old man has talked rubbish. That's okay, but keep calm and namaste. And I thank Ishwar College for this wonderful opportunity. Hope I was useful at least for 20% of the people here. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. You mesmerized us. I think more than 1,000+ audience you mesmerized for the last 1 hour and 15 minutes. Take it from me. I was watching the chat box. So today the technology helps to find out immediately the feedback. So since you were speaking, I think you could not see the chat box. So you can see the chat box. I think everybody is mesmerized by your presentation. The rich experience you gained in the in all your executive positions, it is reflected in all your presentation. So definitely you have done a wonderful job, sir. I think this presentation, all the people who attended, they got really impressed. For sake of time, I will restrict the number of questions to only 2, and especially from students. One student, Mr. Balachandra, is asking a question whether I should take a profession imposed by my parents or I should go on my own.
See, again, this question comes up in everybody's life. See, it all depends on what do you want to do on your own. What is that you want to do? Finally, you decide whether you are equipped to do that without your parents' support, or you convince them. So life is a balancing act. You have to balance many things, and it is for you to decide whether you take that jump by saying, okay, they are dissatisfied for now, but okay, they will turn around a little later. Discuss with people you know around you. Take lessons from the surroundings. Then decide, because this cannot be, you cannot have a consultation answer for this. Like somebody, sorry sir, 1 minute. Like somebody went to an astrologer. Then he asked the astrologer, sir, please read my arm and tell me what it is. He said, sir, you will be poor for 5 more years. Then the person asked, then he said, you will get used to it. So this is a very difficult question to answer. In fact, I wish you all the best. Try to examine it without getting emotionally involved in it. See that as an objective evaluation. You come out of it and evaluate. Then you take a decision, because nobody can decide for you. And later you shouldn't regret that day I did not take that decision. So you go to some calm place, forget about what your parents have said, forget about what you feel, evaluate it independently without putting emotions to it. Very difficult, but still do it. Then you take a decision.
Yes, sir. Next question, I think I will. Next question I will ask on behalf of all the teachers who are watching this program. In fact, you were with NAAC for about 20 years, and you have seen 1,000 colleges NAAC accreditation process as an executive committee member. So for teachers, let us say they want to be successful with NAAC accreditation. So what is the advice you are giving to the teacher?
See, my advice at this point in time is, see, NAAC, you have to go through NAAC. It's a legal requirement. So you accept that you have to do NAAC with whatever limitations, plus points, reflections you have. You may have different opinions on accreditation itself, but you have to go through it because it's a legal requirement. My suggestion is, you don't do your accreditation for NAAC. Your frame of reference should be quality. You keep quality as your frame of reference. NAAC is an instrument. Doing NAAC accreditation doesn't bring quality. But in a quality institution, you can get NAAC accreditation. So the frame of reference should be bigger. That is what they say. In everything they say, have a big aim. Aim should be bigger. Larger aim. If NAAC is the aim, every time NAAC changes something, you have to chase NAAC. But quality is the aim, NAAC will chase you. NAAC says, how can I give that college can get a lower grade? Something is wrong with me. That is the difference. I feel that is what I like to share.
Excellent, sir. Very nice. And we are coming to the close of the webinar. You want to say any final advice to all the teachers and students who are there online also?
I really don't like to give advices, because I always feel advice gets limited by your experience. Advice is a very limiting factor. I always feel be open, take risks, enough risks, but plan well. Plan well, take risks, and it should be in your mind. See, if you are a very what you are a see in my brought up. My parents and my aunts and everybody thought to be more than I'm a precautionary type of a person. I take a lot of precautions. Now, if I want to suddenly be a businessman and with a risk-taking appetite, I may not suit the bill. See, inside you have to be that. Inside you should be comfortable with uncertainty. So you chart out what you are inside you. Then you explore your options. Inside you is what matters. If you want to be a spiritual person also, will you be able to, is it inside you? This you have to find out. It's an inner journey, they call it, inside you. See, in fact, if I was to go back 25 years, I couldn't have done engineering, I tell you. I did engineering management, some for administrative reasons. I did my PhD for administrative reasons. Because without PhD, they say you are useless. So I thought, okay, I will do one PhD. But whether that PhD was something I did with great passion, I have a doubt. I did it, okay, I have to do because otherwise my increment is not there or whatever. But when you excel, it is inside you. Once a mountaineer was asked, why do you go up the mountain? Oxygen is low, you may fall. But he said, I go there because the mountain is there. If the mountain is not there, I couldn't have gone. So this is an inner strength, sir. I think it's inner. I don't have advice on this. Inner, you have to look inside you. Look your environment, etc. Then only you will be able to.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Extremely good presentation, and we are so much impressed by your presentation. On behalf of Sri Ishwar College of Engineering and on behalf of all our webinar participants, I thank you very much for the wonderful session. We look forward to continued relationship with you, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Thanks for joining with us. And you are so humble, so polite, and we are highly impressed. Thank you very much. And definitely, it will go a long way with all the participants who have seen you online. Maybe thousands of people have seen you online. Normally, when somebody pronounces the word NAC, immediately some jerk comes to our body. But after seeing you, I think you have explained very nicely. The quality should be much more bigger canvas than what we are looking for. So, extremely happy to have you on this occasion and wonderful webinar. Thank you very much, sir. Thanks for joining with us. And then we are coming to the close. Dear audience, yes, dear audience, you can do it. Are you ready? It is continuing. And we have scheduled some more webinars. Tomorrow, a different perspective. The perspective is you can do social service. I think it is the need of the hour. Everywhere, at least 70% of the society is affected. So the topic is you can do social service. So on this topic, we are bringing two persons who are so much into social service. So they will explain to you on this topic, and you can visit like today, and then the session and get benefit. All of you can fill up the feedback form. You will definitely get the e-certificates. Thank you very much. Once again, I thank Dr. Madhukar sir for being with us. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. Over to you, Basha.
இங்கேதான் அன்பு கிடைத்தது, பண்பு கிடைத்தது, நட்பு கிடைத்தது, கனவு கிடைத்தது நம் ஈஸ்வர் கல்லூரி. இங்கேதான் தெளிவு கிடைத்தது, அறிவு கிடைத்தது, அறமும் கிடைத்தது, அனைத்தும் கிடைத்தது நம் ஈஸ்வர் கல்லூரி. பசுமை வண்ணம் கொண்ட சூழலிலே துடிக்கும் தேசிய கொடியும் இங்கே நம் ஈஸ்வர் கல்லூரியே. அக்கறை கொண்ட நிர்வாகம் அது எங்கள் உத்வேகம். ஆசிரியர்கள் எல்லோரும் வெற்றிகளின் அஸ்திவாரம். ஆதவன் இல்லாமல் விடியல் ஏது, பாதைகள் இல்லாமல் பயணம் ஏது, கேள்விகள் இல்லாமல் விடைகள் ஏது, ஈஸ்வர் கல்லூரி இல்லாமல் இன்பம் ஏது. கம்யூனிட்டி சென்டர், ஓப்பனர் தியேட்டர், அங்கே உலகம் கற்றுக்கொள்வோமே. நம் காலேஜின் பிளேஸ்மெண்ட் அது என்றும் சூப்பர், அங்கே வேலையும் பெற்றுக்கொள்வோமே. 4 ஆண்டுகளே என்றாலும் ஒரு குடும்பம் போல வாழ்ந்திடுவோம். 40 ஆண்டுகள் கடந்த பின்னும் நம் கல்லூரி நாட்களை போற்றிடுவோம். இந்த நிலையை நாங்கள் அடைந்தாலும் வாழ்வில் உயர பறந்தாலும் மறவோம் ஒரு நாளும் நாங்கள் ஈஸ்வரில் பயின்ற நாட்களை. ஈஸ்வர் கல்லூரி வாழ்க்கை கற்று தந்த பாடம் காலம்